The next recession is here, and it will start from the place where the coronavirus started, China. Please, Shi, we ain't liking these New Year surprises by you. I mean, we got the New Year party, we got the music, we got the food, we got Drake performing, and you are also invited. But please, no surprises. Come on, guys, no surprises. Moreover, similar to the Lehman Brothers recession of 2008, when couples were poisoning themselves and their 8-month-old daughter due to debt, it may happen again, and with a great number of families. Later in the video, I will tell you how you can stop this recession. There is an economic crisis in the US also. So, economic problems in China, economic problems in the USA, and the two biggest economies. So, when they collide, let's first understand recession versus depression. An economic recession is defined as a decline of real gross domestic product or GDP for 2 consecutive quarters. An economic depression is typically an extreme downturn in economic activities lasting several years. That means depression is not the daddy of recession, but its great grandfather. Recession and depression have similar indicators and causes, but the biggest differences are the duration and the overall impact. The Great Depression was one of the most severe economic downturns in history, lasting from 1929 to 1939, almost 10 years. Now it's time to unbox China's New Year surprise. China's Evergrande Group, a Chinese property developer that hasn't made payments on its loans, is being closely watched by the world stock and bond markets. And if the China Evergrande crisis is not resolved, it may become Asia's greatest corporate debt default, destroying investor confidence around the globe. Xi Jinping, the guy who doesn't like being called Winnie the Pooh, in Beijing appears unwilling to bail out the company, but he and the CCP are taking steps to minimize the consequences. And I know most of you are thinking that this Chinese company Evergrande is a small company because you haven't heard its name. But guys, you're wrong. In 2018, it became the most valuable real estate company in the world. It is ranked 122 on the Fortune Global 500. This company creates more than 4 million jobs every year with around 200k direct employees. It is not a small company out of a garage. This company is too big to fail. This expression too big to fail is an economic term meaning a company or a part of a company that is so rooted in the financial system or economy that its failure would be fatal for the entire economy. As a result, the government may consider bailing out the company or possibly an entire industry. But currently, the CCP doesn't seem to be thinking like that. Evergrande is heavily indebted and is close to defaulting on some of its billions of dollars in debt. The company missed a September 23rd deadline on an $83.5 million interest payment, and in December they again missed. And it's a publicly listed company, so people know the figures. And the international markets need to worry, and the stockbrokers need to buy a few more packets of kerosene. Because Rosaline, a professor of political science, said that the stakeholders that are going to be the top choice in any bailout by the Chinese government will be the Chinese stakeholders and not the global ones. That's why the global stockholders are nervous and they should be taking more kerosene along with an ice pack. Disaster at Evergrande was sparked by two direct events. Number one is the property developers' excessive borrowings are being investigated by Chinese regulators as part of a broader crackdown on the industry such as digital economy and education. To counter this, Evergrande attempted to sell some of its assets. However, cash flows were limited by gradual weakening of Chinese housing market and shrinking demand for new homes. Evergrande's cash crunch was brought by the combination of these two issues. And the CCP, or some people call them the Red Ketchup Party on Twitter, were a bit late to crack down on Evergrande. And instead of cracking down on Cutie Pie Jack Ma, she should have investigated the Evergrande crisis firsthand. But according to a few media reports, she likes to hold grudges, and especially with billionaires. But wait a second, the Chinese are not yet done with the Christmas and New Year surprises. You wrong, a Chinese state-owned financial conglomerate that has liabilities of nearly 240 billion is facing cash crunch as well. We don't like these surprises, China. And other than these traditional and proper economic problems, there is one huge problem that will hurt the world and its economy in the worst way. And you have the power to stop it. And the problem is not getting the shot of that COVID vaccine. Job losses from vaccine mandate layoffs could push economies towards recession, given that 31% of the people over the age of 18 are not fully vaccinated. A report by Forbes estimated that 31 million jobs could be lost in the US because of vaccine mandates. And keep this in mind, we are talking about the United States of America only. We are not even accounting other major economies like China, India, UK. So guys, please stay away from those people who talk crap about wearing mask and taking a shot of vaccine. These people are stupid as hell. Leave the Facebook and Reddit group of anti-vaxxers, because anti-vaxxers is a set of people who go to war to find peace. They are the type of people who wake up early to set the alarm. I mean, they are stupidos. You get the point. Now let's talk about China's biggest rival, the USA. It is suffering from the great resignation. But why millions of workers are quitting? In August, 4.3 million Americans quit their jobs. The departure of worker, dubbed the Great Resignation, has created hiring issues for businesses and left millions of jobs empty. In the US, people are leaving jobs because of a number of reasons, from the effects of the corona pandemic to personal problems to irritating bosses. But especially the virus outbreak and the devastation it brought made many people reevaluate their lives, jobs and careers. Many people realized that they don't want to continue in the same old job. They wanted to pivot to a new job or reinvent themselves by pursuing different interests. But that doesn't mean that they will get a new job in the field they want. And this kicks in an economic problem where more people are leaving and fewer people are joining. And all these fairy tales of getting a new job and driving around in a Lamborghini flashes out quickly, because it feels fantastic to think of screaming at your boss and slamming out of the door right now. And you may certainly find a new work quickly in several trendy sectors such as restaurants and bars. But it's not that simple for white collar workers. Interviews can last for 3 to 6 months on average, and many individuals are interviewed at the same time. It's a long and tough process. There could be some serious consequences if you resign without having a new employment offer. So let's rewind. Companies collapsing in China, anti-vaccination movement and the employment crisis. By now you must be thinking that this is a perfect cocktail for recession. But the cocktail is still not ready, because other than the employment crisis, inflation is rising in the US and around the globe. The annual rate of inflation in the United States hit 6.2% in October 2021, the highest in more than 3 decades. According to Pew Research Center review of data from 46 countries, the inflation rate in the third quarter of 2021 was greater in most of the countries than it was in the pre-pandemic third quarter of 2019, with the highest inflation seen in Brazil, Turkey, US and New Zealand. Deutsche Bank warns of global time bomb coming due to rising inflation. The bank adds that the effects could be devastating, particularly for the financial weak in the society. And the cocktail is still not done. Asian Development Bank trims Asia's growth forecast as Omicron threatens economies. According to the authors of a study on forecasting downturns or recession, it appears that the United States will enter recession at the end of 2021. But some other experts do not agree with this claim, and this is very normal in the world of economics. And another report projects that recession can come by late 2022. But one thing is very certain, economies all over the world are facing very tough challenges. If the Evergrande crisis is not solved in China and US economy doesn't get back on track, and the anti-vaccinations movement don't stop, the road to the year 2022 won't be a safe path. And I am sorry to say, indebted parents will poison their children.